So after years of using YouTube videos for all my projects to guide me, auto repair, motorcycle repair, carpentry, plumbing, electrical, now that I'm retired, I thought I'd start doing a couple videos myself, maybe share with some folks that might find them helpful when they're doing their projects. So this is a closet redo that I'm in the process of. It's a 12-foot. I've got a 12-foot wall, two 12-foot walls. One of the walls has an air conditioning vent that really makes it 8 foot of usable space. A 6 foot on the back, and it had wire shelving, and the walls were all banged up. So I've basically torn all that out, patched a couple hundred holes from the anchors that were in the wire shelving, painted, and now I'm doing my essentially my own design, freestanding, kind of some ideas I got looking at other YouTube videos, but with modifications that basically fit what lumber I'm able to get and what skills I have and what tools I have. So I plan to make a video of the process as it goes along. Thanks. So one of the things I wanted to accomplish is to not have any metal brackets hanging off the walls that hang with the clothes bars on it. So I've decided on this freestanding type shelf. So this, and also what I've decided is that I want 17-inch width on the shelf depth, which is difficult because to get 17-inch wide wood, you have to glue pieces together. And to get a hardwood, this is red oak, which I had, basically did my closet design, which is very important to do that first. So do your design, and then I was able to send this out to some folks and have some shelving, the red oak shelving prefab for me, so I didn't have to glue and cobble everything together. So I had the red oak tops made. This is essentially what it's going to look like. This is the first section I did just to get an idea how it's going to come together. This is the 17-inch deep shelf. I did a 1 or 2x3 ferrule strip, so I get a little deeper ledge to screw my top board into. And I was gonna do these sides in red oak too, the support sides. So I'm gonna have essentially a section here, 2 sections along this 12-foot wall with a gap in between, in the middle, where I'm either gonna do, this is the design, I'm either gonna do my own shelves in the middle, or I've got a lingerie cabinet which I have shown drawn in here. Or I'm going to do my lingerie cabinet just stuck in between there. So instead of doing the red oak on this side, because I was getting expensive on the lumber, I think just the boards for the top shelves to do the 3 walls was like $500 to get them 17 inches wide glued, and then I did 2 coats of polyurethane. They were unfinished too, so $500, and then my labor to do the 2 coats of polyurethane. For the red oak prep for the polyurethane, I did a 100 grit rough sand and a 400 grit fine sand using a foam pad, so I didn't dig in super deep. And then I did the polyurethane with a cloth rag to really work it in deep into the grain. And then between the coats, I did 2 coats of polyurethane. I did 4/0 steel wool. I decided to go with this cheap old glued together pine stuff from Lowe's. And it's a little shorter. It's not 17, it's like 16 inches. But I'm gonna put some trim here, and then I'm gonna paint this probably white or the same color as the walls, which is kind of a yellow. Couple other things down at the bottom. I cut using my oscillating, this is a pretty cool tool I just picked up on eBay. oscillating multi, I'm going to call it an oscillating multi-tool, multi-master tool. I think this was, I don't know, 50 bucks used on eBay, but it's pretty cool for just cutting out sections like I did here to slide in my sideboard into the molding. I was able to cut a section out, and then I cut the carpet out. I cut a little too deep, so I'm gonna have to trim that out. But essentially, cut down into the baseboard, the subfloor, and I'm going to screw into the subfloor to mount this side piece after I get it painted and trimmed up, and then this underneath trim or ledger board or ferrule strip, whatever it is, will be painted the same color as the walls. So as I go, as it starts piecing together, I'll do updates, but it's so far pretty straightforward, and we'll see how it comes together. Okay, I have the second section of shelving roughed in, nothing screwed down, just fitting everything up. So far so good. This gap here, I'm gonna end up putting shelves in there after it's painted. And then this cross piece where it's not going to have the support, I'm going to do a biscuit, going to glue, do a biscuit joint in that. I've never done one before. Have a little biscuit joiner, so to cut the biscuit slots. So we'll see how that goes. So got one wall done. I got to do the back wall and this long. It was going to be 8-foot section, but because of this HVAC return vent, I'm going to cut it short and leave a gap in between here, so I'm not right up against this duct here. We'll see. So it's a little modification to the design. So we'll see how that comes out. So this is the third section roughed in. One of the struggles with this, if you're really precision, if you're into precision work, is these closet walls, or I guess any drywall, is not super square. So where I'm going to do my biscuit joint, you can see light through there. I have the 2 biscuits in there, but that's about as tight as I'm going to get that joint. So probably the glue is just going to be where the 2 biscuits are, and I think that'll hold it. Not going to put a ton of weight on it. So, but without custom cutting the ends to the contour of the walls, which I'm not going to do, that's as good as I'm going to get it for now. I think it'll work. So now I got to take everything apart to get that fairing strip painted all the way around, and then I can glue this joint over here after it's painted, that fairing strip, and that'll be permanently placed. Then I can do the last run of shelf over here, and with the biscuit joint, I'll cut a biscuit there, and then on the mating piece. Now I'm getting the closet ready for assembly process. I've painted the furring strips. That's F-U-R-R-I-N-G. I've been calling them different things earlier in the video, but they are the boards that the red oak shelf is going to sit on. And as mentioned earlier, I went with 2x3s instead of 1x3s. Most people use 1x3s, but I wanted a little wider ledge for the red oak board to sit on, so my screw isn't so close to the edge and risk splitting the board on the edge. If I'm only a quarter inch off the edge, this will give me about an inch off the edge for my screw. These were $2.98 a piece for an 8-foot section at Lowe's, and I think online it looked like there was a better quality one for like $4 something, but the Lowe's in my area in Virginia only had these rough stud boards. And I used the same paint as they painted the walls with, and they look fine. Once I have the shelves on, and the steel, they're going to be black steel hanging rods for the clothes. Once they're on and once it's in use, you probably won't even be able to see this back strip anyhow. So I think they'll be fine. We'll see. The shelves are assembled and the top screwed down, and the sides are anchored into the floor, and everything's set, solid. Did have a little difficulty getting these joints to line up square. Glued them in place because it's not practical to glue them offline and then try to bring them in here. Especially I could only get one joint anyhow. Certainly couldn't do two offline and bring the whole thing in here. You know, I think I'd stress the joint, probably end up cracking it. But I said earlier that I wouldn't custom cut the shelves to fit the wall. Well, to get these joints square, I ended up having to do custom cutting. These back walls and the corners were about 1/4 inch further out than the rest of the wall. And this side especially, I had to do filing and a lot of work to get this joint to come together. And then I strapped this one in place till it dried. I put a strap around it. This one I just jammed a stud against the back wall here, against the end of the board, and put pressure on it for 24 hours. But in doing all that custom filing, I ended up, I cut the board to length right off the bat, which I shouldn't have done, because when I started filing to get the joint to fit level, I lost stock here. So I'm gonna have to do some trim work or something to clean that up. But that was really the only snag I ran into. Everything else came together good. Now it's on to mounting the hanging bars. Okay, the closet looks pretty much finished. The hanging bars are in. The final shelves are in with the leftover lumber that I had. I was able to get 2 shelves out of that with the 17-inch boards I had. The hanging bars are 3/4 inch, schedule 30 from Lowe's, $18.70, 77 cents a piece times 4. The rod brackets are 3/4 inch. Steel Tech makes this stuff also from Lowe's, $7.01 a piece. I hung the bars a foot off the back wall, and that leaves me for a standard wooden clothes hanger another 3 or 4 inches from the end of the hanger to the wall. So it looks like it's plenty room enough. I hung the brackets with a 1/4 inch lag bolt, and I drilled them 3/16 blind hole, and I drilled about 600 thousandths deep, so it wouldn't come out the top with the thickness of the flange of the bracket. It puts it right at the edge of breaking out at the top. So 1 inch lag bolt, that's probably a 1/4 inch. Then I drilled I used a block as a stopper to drill a blind hole so I wouldn't go too deep. So basically set them about 600 thousandths deep. This stuff is super strong. This pipe is 100 thousandths wall, and the red oak really holds these 1/4 inch lag bolts tight. After I was filing to get these joints, filing and grinding and sanding to get these joints to fit up, I'm not a woodworker, don't have a lot of experience, but this red oak is hard stuff, and I have no concerns about this, the wood being able to hold these lag bolts. And I have no concern about any weight limits to put on these bars or the shelves. So I think we're all set. I'm pleased with the outcome. A little over budget. I didn't expect to spend over $1,000, but I think I'm probably in the $1,200 range. But I'm happy, and my wife's happy with it, which is even more important. So it's good to go. Thanks.